Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Mob Psycho 100. Last time around we had Mob Part 1 moving, where basically the whole episode was about how Tsubomi is going to be moving away, and Mob needs to work up the courage to ask her out before she goes, and he was on his way to do so when he got hit by a car and now he's bleeding in the street. And that's how the episode ended. But luckily he did save a kid, not his 3DS, but did save a kid, and I guess... yeah, that's the good part of it, but he's still bleeding in a street, so, yeah. But that's pretty much that. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Mob Psycho 100. Here we go. Yeah, that was it. I don't know where the hell I got Shizuka from. It's Suzuki. If there is anyone who could possibly contain the overwhelming power that Mob is outputting right now, it is probably Suzuki. You know, so it's an interesting thing. I noticed that this episode, Mob 2, Rival, and this is basically mirroring Season 1, Episode 4, which I believe was also called Rival. And I like that sort of mirroring, especially at the end, you know? It's not exactly like a redo or a rematch, but it's a redux, you know? It's similar, but it's different now, you know? And I like that idea. Which you could even say we had that towards the beginning of this season, because we had Mob and Dimple, you know? But now, things are different. Like, this is a sort of redux season, and I kind of like that, you know? We're revisiting these things from previous seasons, but now from a different angle. And here we have the same thing, where Mob is losing control over his powers and, you know, is causing all this devastation, and it's Suzuki who's now going to go in and try to contain him, you know? As opposed to the other way around, which is what we had at the end of Season 2. And I also noticed that the last episode of this season is subtitled The Future, which was the name of the first episode of Season 3. So, that's some good stuff. The other thing I would think for a sort of mirror would be to have Reagan show up and you know, try to talk Mob down, because that would be the same as the end of Season 1, you know? But I don't know. It will be interesting to see where this goes. But yeah, well, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this from this car crash, but his determination has completely taken over, and now he is not in control anymore. His emotions, and which, I mean, we saw last episode, his emotions just building more and more and more over the course of the day, you know. And yeah, he's very emotional about this whole Tsubomi thing. So adding on top of that, being injured so terribly and losing control, like, yeah, that would happen. You know, and while it is good that this episode, especially with Teruki, like, the fact that it does mirror their first fight in Season 1, as much as I like that, I do have to say, as soon as I saw that yellow light coming up, it's like, here comes Sanazawa to get his ass kicked. Every time he has to get wharfed, you know? Because he was the first legitimate threat. Well, I guess. Legitimate threat. He was the first powerful Esper, if not just the first Esper we ever really saw and faced, you know? So, he's now the sort of measuring stick for the rest of any threat that comes our way, you know? Whether that be Claw again, Dimple, Mob himself. So I like that. I like, again, I like the redux, you know? The redux of their original fight, but oh boy, I hope, man. See, the thing is, I hope he's okay, because he managed to walk away from that original fight, but oh, I hope he can live through this. I don't know. I feel like we might have some big, like, you know, balls crazy death here, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like we already kind of had that, though, because we had Dimple, you know? Because Dimple sacrificed himself, you know? But I don't know. His powers are whack. They're wiggity wiggity whack, yo. But that was good. All the destruction. Which, that's the one thing where I'm not really worried about lasting consequences, is the destruction of Seasoning City, because we already saw that. We already saw that last season, and everything seemed to work. I guess technically all those buildings didn't come back. You know, we still had, because that's where the Divine Tree was, but I don't know, things seem to be fine after season 2, but you might need a little rebuilding. But oh boy. But yeah, and I like the distinction too. It's not just that his powers are going crazy, but he's still acting on the last thing he was going to do, you know? It's like, I mean, it's like a computer doing anything it can to fulfill its last order, you know? And that's basically it. It's his primal instincts now taking over, and the driving force behind this power now is, I have to get to the park to talk to Tsubomi. And he's protecting the flowers, you know? He's specifically protecting the flowers, because now, what he would do once he gets there, I have no idea. We have no idea how she would respond to that. We don't know anything. Obviously, the goal is to stop him before he gets there, but that is his entire, like, what is baked into his body right now is get to Tsubomi with the flowers, you know? And he's just so strong. He completely annihilated Hanazawa. But luckily he seemed to save all the people there. So, and I like how he says, like, oh, looks like I won today, you know? So that was good. That was really good. That was good. And then I love, because it's exactly what I was thinking, is like, you know who is powerful enough to possibly defeat Mob in this state? And they cut straight to him. Yep, Suzuki. He is definitively, at least as of the end of season 2, he is stronger than Mob, you know? Like, that was confirmed that he is stronger than Mob. Now, granted, his powers ran out of control, you know, and they had to contain them, and eventually it created the Divine Tree. But see, I like this, because, we've talked about this season, like, season 2 kind of felt like the ending, you know? Season 2 kind of felt like the ending, where it's like, well, we defeated the big bad guy that we've been setting up since season 1, you know? But we have an entire other season. But again, I like that this season, it's like, yes, the main plot technically has been resolved, but now we're doing all this stuff for the characters, you know? Which, Mob Psycho has honestly been a more character-driven, like, the most character-driven show, honestly. So it makes sense having the final season, not really the plot. Well, I mean, the plot of season 3 is the characters and the characters' struggles, you know? And I enjoy that, and it makes sense that now, this is all centered on Mob. honestly, you know what it feels like a bit? Kind of feels like Steven Universe done right. Like, honestly. Because Steven Universe kind of had a similar thing where it's like, well, you know, in the season proper, the series proper, they defeated the bad guys, or, you know, redeemed White Knight, spoiler alert, they redeemed the diamonds and stuff. And then you get Steven Universe Future, which is an epilogue series that deals with Steven's trauma and just all this building anxiety eventually until he becomes a rampaging monster, you know? And it's very similar to Mob Psycho, but it's better. Can we just say it's better? Because there's no stupid episodes of, like, Watermelon Steven or some garbage. Don't even get me started on Steven Universe. That show... Oh, there were some good things. I did actually react to Steven Universe Future here on the channel. With an infamous discussion on the 10th episode where I thought that was the end of the show, and I didn't realize there were going to be 10 more episodes. It's kind of funny in hindsight, but anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I enjoyed it enough, but at the same time, it's like, it was fine. It worked enough based on a flawed series, you know? Whereas this is like fully realized, like, oh, yes, this is kind of what you want, you know? It's shorter. We cut out filler, and I'm sorry, but there was filler garbage in Steven Universe. And B, it's just better. It's just better, and it knows, I feel like it knows what it's doing more, you know? And the whole season isn't just about Mob slowly going insane, you know, or, you know, slowly losing it over and over. It's like, no, we're dealing with a lot of stuff. We're dealing with, you know, Dimple, or the Telepathy Club, and now Mob, you know? Like, we're dealing with all these little things. So I like that. I really enjoy that. And I'm very curious to see where we are going. We got 2 episodes left of Mob Psycho 100, and it's time. We had the rematch of Mob versus Teruki, but now the rematch of Mob versus Suzuki, but from a different point of view, I guess. But yeah, good stuff, and I'm excited to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Mob Psycho 100 reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.